Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I hope you've been enjoying this game so far. For me it's been a blast, I would say. It's a really nice game. For now let's start with the introduction. I think this game has a great introduction. You essentially set out on your journey, you see your mom, then you will prompt to choose a starter after a short segment. And then you will have your first rival battle. And let's talk about the starters first a bit. You can see there my friend walking at 5 frames per second. Gotta love it. Let's start talking about the starters. The starters look really nice. I will show you the 3 final forms of all those starters, so you can decide on which one you want to choose by your preference, by their looks essentially. I hope that this can shed some light into how the game works, how to decide about everything, and it will help you out on your journey, hopefully. So, this review will be a little bit chaotic. We'll be jumping from place to place, just like our beautiful 5 frames per second characters, which is really nice. So, first I want to address one thing. I like the challenges that provides the game. You can essentially tackle any gym and in any order you want. That means if you want to go to the 4th gym, you can tackle the 4th gym. It's gonna be harder. The problem with that is, even as I said, it's a great idea, it's not really that well planned out. The gyms don't scale with you, which is a problem. Because, sorry Kit, I like you as well. It's really a problem. Let's say, for example, you'll go to the gym number 5. And you will fight, let's say, level 40 Pokemon. Alright, there's your challenge. Well, the problem is, if you go to the gym number 1, then you will be fighting around level 13 Pokemon, which is not really a challenge, essentially, so that's kind of a big problem. I think what should have been done there is, even if you pick gym number 8, the Pokemon as your first gym should be level 13. And then it should scale up. For example, let's say you will go to gym number 6, it should be scaled like your second gym. So around like, let's say level 25 of the Pokemons there. That would be a pretty great addition. Unfortunately, they did it in a backwards kind of way, where if you go to 8 gym, you will have much more harder time. And if you go to gym 1, you will have the most easier time in the world. Which is not great, ideally it's not really great. I think the open world is really nice. They did really nice things. The landscape is full, there's a lot of Pokemon for you to catch. There's always something you want to find, there's a lot of items scattered everywhere. A lot of items will appear randomly. So there's always something that will push you to move forward, which is really nice. Now let's talk about the paths. When you go around the introductory section, that's about 2.5 hours in the game, you will get out of your school, essentially. And that means that you will be able to essentially choose your path. There's 3 separate quest lines you need to complete. You can tackle them in any shape or form. You can jump from, I don't know, first gym to the other quests, to go hound a Titan, or to defeat your first hideout of the Team Star, which are the main antagonists. I don't know, the antagonists in this game are not really... They're interesting and dynamic, but they're not a threat per se. They're just like misguided teenagers, you might call them that. Alright, so the first ones are easy. It's essentially just defeat 8 gyms, defeat the Elite Four, and the champion. The next one is defeat 5 titans. Every titan you defeat, you will get a bonus to your riding Pokemon. You will have access to your riding Pokemon after the short segment at the beginning of the game. Not entirely at the beginning, around the 2.5 hours into the game, you'll be able to ride Miraidon or the other legendary. I played Pokemon Violet for this review. I put around, I would say, 36 hours into the game so far. It'll be here now on screen. And I think the main thing I like about this is it does gate you. You cannot access certain areas. Of course you can if you know how to glitch, essentially, then you can access everything. Which that's a big problem in this game because it's littered with glitches, but we'll talk about that later. Every Titan Pokemon you defeat, your riding Pokemon will gain additional ability. It will be a longer jump. You can glide. You cannot fly in this game. You can fly from Poké Centers. If you press your map, you can fly to any Poké Centers. It's the same like it was in Sword and Shield, where you have just in the down right corner just a little like animation flying car, and then you will be at the spot, which is kind of overwhelming. A lot of the older games had that, you know, the animation of the bird swinging you up and then landing you in that spot. I think that was neat, but we don't have that in this game. Then you can ride on water, etc. All these things. You can climb on rocks as well. That will be individually unlocked. It doesn't matter in the Titan Pokemon in which order you defeat them. You will unlock the abilities in the same order. It doesn't matter if you go for the fifth one or for the first one. It doesn't matter anyway, because the Titan Pokemon doesn't scale either. The third side quest, not side quest, the third main quest is defeating 5 Team Stars hideouts, where you will have like a challenge, a little mini game. It's pretty neat, and you will fight with the boss. It's pretty nice as well. I think it's a great addition. The problem with me, to be honest, is I like when the antagonists are threatening, and these ones are really not threatening, I would say. Well, let's talk about what you get for defeating them. If you defeat each one, it doesn't matter. You will be faced with not faced, but you will be already facing with the boss at the end every time. Let's say you defeat the boss, then you will get some TMs you can learn, because in this game you can craft TMs at any Poké Center. There will be a little small box where you can craft them. You can craft whatever you need. You will get the supplies mostly from defeating Pokemon, like fur and claws and stuff like that. Well, they improved the sprites of the Pokemon. I think they look pretty nicely. They look really crisp. The new terrestrializing mechanic, it's pretty neat. I like it a lot. It's something to strive on. For example, if you want to get all EVs, terrestrialize in different, and then you can have like a Vaporeon with a poison type. That's pretty neat. Well, the new Pokemon in this game are really, really nice. You will definitely enjoy these new way they look. I would say they are much more better than Sword and Shield. Of course, some of them are really nice for Sword and Shield, but this is a Pokemon Violet review, so there is, of course, finally, a nice and capable rifle for you. She knows already how to fight. She's really adverse the character. She's already the champion as well, so she will fight progressively, increasing stronger in the battles as every rival does. But this one does strike better than what we got in Sword and Shield and Sun and Moon. This one doesn't seem like incapable nuisance as these two previous games, as essentially a guide and a friend, which is nice. It's really nice. Then there's the co-op. The co-op section, you will have in every Pokemon Center you will have a Union Circle. If you interact with that Union Circle, you can invite your friends to play with you in the whole overworld. You can't play. There's a lot of glitches and bugs, unfortunately, with that, so be mindful of that. Nothing game-breaking so far, what I've found out about the Union Circle. You can enjoy playing with them. Unfortunate thing is, and that brings me to the next section, is shiny Pokemon. Let's say you and your 4 friends find a shiny Pokemon. Let's say shiny Zigzagoon, right? I don't even think Zigzagoon is in the game. Is he? No, okay, never mind. He's not in the game, I think. Okay, you'll find a shiny Yangoose, for example. Well, only one of you can catch it. Not everyone. Because it's one Pokemon in one world and you're 4, right? Another problem with the shinies, they will no longer sparkle as in Legends Arceus when they're on Overworld. There's no cue, not visual, not sound clue. The only clue you can use is your eyes, which is kind of unfortunate because, you know, a lot of colorblind people love playing video games, for example, and unfortunately for them, they will most likely won't be able to know which Pokemon is shiny, which is kind of shame. It's really harder as well to find a shiny just because of this feature. I don't know why they decided to take it out. But I would suggest there's these mass breakouts. It's similar to Legends Arceus, where you have one particular Pokemon that will show up in one place. It changes every day, of course, at midnight. And you can, for example, catch a lot of Ghastlies, or you can fight them with your Pokemon. You can actually let your Pokemon go and fight them without you needed to be forced into the battle, which is really neat. You don't have that transition, nothing. Just you can just send him out, and he will just battle them. The great thing about that is you will get an XP. You'll get just a fraction of XP, obviously. But if it's a shiny Pokemon, your Pokemon will not engage in a fight with it. He will just not attack it. So that's a nice clue for people who are colorblind or are blind in general, like me, to find out if it's shiny or not. Because some shiny variants are resembling the normal ones pretty closely. For example, Pikachu. And let's talk about negatives. No, actually, let's first talk about the Elite Four. The Elite Four is one of the most underwhelming aspects of this game. They're not hard. It's easy. I called him Knight. It's a new Pokemon. You evolve him with armor. I forgot his name because I named him Knight, so there you go. And I just swept through the whole Elite Four and then the champion. It's really easy. It's one of the easiest Elite Fours I have ever encountered. I think it's even easier than Sun and Moon. Then let's talk about the minimap. If you're in the wild and everything is wild, but you know, if you open your minimap and then close it, you will see around you a few Pokemons that are around the area. The problem with that is that it's not gonna be, they're not gonna be always where their little like sprite picture on your minimap is. So, for example, you can look for Seviper, and you can see him on the minimap, but you will fucking not be able to find him. Unfortunately, it's really difficult to find these Pokemon. I know why they implemented it in such a bad way, where you need to scour like the whole section just to find that Pokemon instead of being a pinpoint location. That feels pretty awkward to me, but it's Pokemon games, so you know. The unfortunate thing about this game is it has been rushed. It has been really rushed. That's essentially my cons list that I have. It's really bad on optimization. You will lag a lot. God forbid you will go on water and you will encounter a lot of water Pokemon. You can say hello to your 20 FPS because your 60 FPS will be fucking gone. I mean, if you can get the 60 FPS, which I don't think it's even able. You're not even able to get 60 FPS in most locations. As you can see, there are a fella running over there. This is exactly how they will look if you are around 5 meters away from them. They're really choppy. They don't look so crisp. They will always move in so small frames. So you can save on memory, essentially. And let's say you have like this. Let's put it like this. In normal games, the memory, it will just take enough memory, but it can sustain itself, and it will delete some portions, so it can still keep running. The problem with Pokemon Violet is that it's like a sponge, essentially. It will gain more and more and more of your memory without wiping anything out, or without being in constraint. So what this leads to, your Switch game Pokemon Violet or Scarlet can just shut down, just like this. Or you will have worse and worse and worse frame as you play through the game. And this is an easy fix for it. They just need to limit it and lock it. But unfortunately they didn't do that. Hopefully they did. I didn't see any patch rolling out, no one-day patch unfortunately, so that's kinda unfortunate. Then you cannot turn off the switching Pokemon. Essentially, if you go to a trainer battle, normally you have a switch or set mode. Switch mode makes it that every time you defeat your opponent's Pokemon, it will ask you, oh, he's using your mom. Do you want to switch to your mom? And then you press yes or no. Well, it's automatic like this. For what I know so far, I didn't find in the game any way to switch from switch to set. Set essentially means the normal Pokemon. You're just gonna throw the Pokemon away. You will not get notified to switch your Pokemon. That's not here. Again, there's the XP share. You cannot turn off the XP share. It's always gonna be on for this game, as well as it was for Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think this game has a lot of potential. It's a really nice game. It has a lot of characters. And you know, for example, the kid with the backpack, he's kind of annoying at the beginning, but then he's pretty nice. There's some character progression as well that makes actually sense, thankfully. And of course, if you're playing it, be careful for glitches. If you're playing with friends, you'll find the shiny. Be careful. Just make the decision, essentially. Go for your throats. Well, let's go to the conclusion. The game has a lot of problems, and it can little destroy your experience, but overall I think If you play, for example, solo, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I played through the game solo, and I spot some glitches here and there, some pop-outs. The pop-outs are still terrible, unfortunately. Even the buildings are inaccessible. You cannot go into the buildings anymore. There's no bueno for you. 99% of the buildings are not accessible. You cannot enter them. And that's by design that you cannot enter them. So that's really unfortunate. And to the buildings you can go are just shops that are just a screen. You will just see like a shop screen. It's not like the hair salon. If you go to the hair salon, you have the hairdresser and stuff like that. Or if you go to Pokemon Mart, for example, right? Nothing in this game. You will always, if you go to the shop, you will just see a little window pop up, and it will tell you, do you want to buy this, and you're like, alright, fair enough. I didn't find that many NPCs you can talk with, so that's kind of unfortunate. You can see a lot of like speech bubbles, people speaking and such, but you cannot actually interact with most of them, which is kind of unfortunate as well. It's really nice to hear like stories of other NPCs, because I think that makes the world fruitful, but they did it in a different way this time. And I don't know about this game. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. I was hoping it'd be more polished. Unfortunately, it isn't. I would have much more greater time if I was not lagging most of the time. It was more smooth of an experience. Unfortunately, that's not the case. This game was incredibly rushed to the point where they would just smush things together. You can even perform various glitches for shinies and stuff like that because the game was not properly playtested, unfortunately. And I would say that it will keep happening. And the problem with the Pokemon Company is they have a tight schedule, and they just have a tight window, and they're not spending that many money and resources on Pokemon games, unfortunately. So you can expect these kinds of things every release, I would say. I don't think this game holds a candle to Pokemon Arceus. I think Pokemon Arceus is better in this way, even though this is Pokemon Violet review. I have around 313 Pokédex entries, so, you know, it's kind of easy to get all the Pokémons. You have like 400 Pokémons for your whole Pokédex. So, that's interesting. I was actually hoping they would bring all the Pokémons, but that's unfortunately not the case in this game as well as in the last game. So, we don't have a full Pokédex, or any like a national dex, you might say. That's essentially summarizing all about this. I hope I shed some light into the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And if you're considering to buying it, I highly recommend it. Even though I had a lot of issues with the game, I still recommend it. I still think it's a good game to play. It's a nice and relaxing game to play. And I hope you all have a great time in this new Pokemon world and this new region. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will enjoy. Thank you.